Well, India marks 1 month since the horrific Pahalgam terror attack that claimed 26 lives, with India's resolute response perhaps reshaping the fight against Pakistan-based terror. There have been several important reactions which have come in today, none less than what has taken place with regard to what the Prime Minister had to say earlier on today. Let's listen in on what he did.
का दिमाग ठंडा है, ठंडा रहता है, लेकिन मोदी का लहू गर्म होता है। मोदी की नसों में लहू नहीं, गरम सिंदूर बह रहा है। पाकिस्तान को भारी कीमत चुकानी पड़ेगी और ये कीमत पाकिस्तान की सेना चुकाएगी, पाकिस्तान की अर्थव्यवस्था चुकाएगी। तीनों सेनाओं ने मिलकर ऐसा चक्रव्यूह रचा कि पाकिस्तान को घुटने टेकने के लिए मजबूर कर दिया। 22 तारीख के हमले के जवाब में हमने 22 मिनट में आतंकियों के 9 सबसे बड़े ठिकाने तबाह कर दिए। दुनिया ने और देश के दुश्मनों ने भी देख लिया कि जब सिंदूर बारूद बन जाता है तो नतीजा क्या होता है।
All right, so it's been a month since the Pahalgam terror attack. Where does India stand at this stage? I'm joined by Ambassador Navdeep Suri, Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, General Satish Dua, and General S.L. Narasimhan. Thank you very much for being with us. Ambassador Suri, let me come to you first. A month after Pahalgam, has Pakistan's denial of involvement, despite India's evidence linking the attack to the Jaish and the Lashkar-e-Toiba, impacted India's diplomatic push to designate Pakistan a state sponsor of terrorism at the UN?
I don't think it's impacted our narrative to that extent, but I think it certainly helps if we can produce tangible evidence, not just Pakistan's track record, which needs no certification by anyone. You know, the Pakistani track record is abundantly clear. But if we have the proverbial smoking gun, then that certainly helps. We know it. But, some countries tend to be a little bit more skeptical than others. And I think what is crucial is for us to work very closely with friendly intelligence agencies in the US, in Europe, elsewhere, and make sure that we are on the same page. We have established channels of communication with them. We have established cooperation mechanisms with them. And they've been very helpful to us in the past in sometimes supplementing our own efforts to track down the culprits with the information, tech int, etc., that they may have picked up. I'm sure it's happening behind the scenes. This is not the kind of stuff that we usually speak about in the public domain. But yes, we can certainly perhaps do a bit more to strengthen our global narrative.
General Narasimhan, what happens if there's a fresh terror attack in the country? I know what the Prime Minister has said. I'm aware of the new doctrine. But, military action isn't necessarily switch on, switch off. Therefore, if something happens now, can we always resort to a military route?
Thank you, Vishnu, and thank you for getting me on your show. Earlier in one of the shows of yours only, I mentioned that we need to keep the pressure on Pakistan on a continuous basis. See, periodically, as and when things come to close to normalcy, you see this reversal that is taking place every time. 2016, 19, 25 are actually the pointers towards that. I think we need to be constantly putting the pressure on Pakistan, not only on the military front, but also on the diplomatic and the economic front, so that they remain under pressure. Even today, I was in a seminar with the Stimson Center here in the US. The Pakistanis seem to be in denial even now. So the problem that comes up is that we need to put pressure on, like Ambassador Navdeep Suri mentioned, from all angles towards Pakistan to ensure that they don't come up with another act that happened like what happened in 22nd of April. So this is the thing I think that we need to be concentrating on all fronts.
If we look at, India's strikes, Pakistan's attempts at hitting us, the extensive use of drones, how has military conflict in the subcontinent been changed forever?
It is true, because the use of drones, the use of standoff modes of attack has actually started from the Armenian-Azerbaijan.
General Narasimhan, half a second. I just wanted to put that across to General Dua. General Dua, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Right. Vishnu, I will continue from where General Narasimhan left off, because this time, as we've been seeing over the last few years, whether it is Russia, Ukraine, Azerbaijan, Armenia, or Israel-Gaza conflict, we've seen a shift, tectonic shift, if you will, in the platforms and the weapons used. So standoff modes of attack, to include drones, missiles, rockets, and UAVs, etc., those are not only more the norm, but also are more cost-effective. Ukraine crippled a Russian Navy ship without having a viable navy at all, using drones. So this time round, what we have seen is that on one hand, we have used these platforms very well. On the other hand, our integrated army defense has worked so beautifully. I myself was a skeptic of the integrated air defense between the Navy and Air Force till we have till the Air Force, between the three services, till we have integrated structures, and especially the fact that we have a lot of Make in India equipment which has been sort of integrated into it. I'm actually very happy to be proven wrong that our air defense grid has been very good. It has actually integrated a variety of equipment and platforms, as well as legacy systems like L-70s and some other systems which we have been using for decades. So, to my mind, this has actually changed the paradigm, the new normal, in terms of how our response will be without crossing the LOC and with the least involvement of loss of lives.
Air Marshal Kapoor, in 2016 and in 2019, there was no footage which actually came of India's strikes, very little. And whatever did emerge didn't necessarily sort of favor our narrative. On this occasion, there is an overwhelming amount of satellite imagery and overwhelming amount of footage, some of which we are seeing on the screen. Therefore, in not just military action, but there is this battle of narratives as well, which is a part and parcel of modern warfare, perhaps more than ever before. Do you believe that that battle of narrative has been won by New Delhi?
Not exactly. In my opinion, the West has favored Pakistan. And why would they do so? Because the equipment used by them is of Western origin. Nowhere would they want that the world should know that their equipment was taken down by the Russian and the Indian equipments. The markets will collapse. It is the first time that the Chinese weapons have ever been used in any conflict. So the whole world would be watching their PL-15's performance, PL-10, JF-17, J-10, and whatever you have. Because these platforms would be used against Taiwan or their targets in South China Sea as and when, if a conflict takes place. So, in my opinion, the area which we need to improve, we are discussing 1 month after Pahalgam, is our narrative building. The West, whatever may say, has always stood by the side of Pakistan, be it providing them with weapons, be it providing them with tacit support, be it standing with them on international forums, World Bank, IMF, you name a thing. Most of the newspapers and the publication houses have never ever brought out the real facts which you are just showing. The damages done, the craters made. They have mentioned in the passing some damage was done. And today morning I was reading a report which has been taken precisely from the authentic sites, which has put the air loss, only the air loss, to about $3.6 billion. This strike on the 10th morning has taken out about $3.6 billion worth of equipment from them. It's some estimate. So this will never come out in Western narrative. I think so. I've answered what you asked me.
Okay. Ambassador Suri, the other aspect of what emerged, again, it's part of the entire narrative process, is the US President Donald Trump claiming that the US had a decisive role in bringing about peace between India and Pakistan, when in fact everything suggests that it was the weight of the Indian strikes which resulted in Pakistan coming on the table. For example, when we first hit Pakistan, the terror camps, our Director General of Military Operations, our DGMO, spoke to them and said, look, we've done what we've done, you know why we've done it, and we don't want to escalate. And he was rebuffed. But that same DGMO, a couple of days later, himself got on the phone and said, look, let's get into a ceasefire, and let's do that ceasefire in 2 hours from now. I would suggest that had to do greatly with the success of India's military operations. And yet you've got Trump over and over again saying that, some trade business would facilitate this peace and that America was decisively involved. Again, in terms of narrative, I'm not sure where that fits in. I'm not even sure whether that's factually correct. What are your views?
Vishnu, before I come to President Trump, I just wanted to endorse what General Dua had said about our air defense capabilities in bringing down the drones, because living in Amritsar and seeing firsthand from our balcony the swarms that were coming in and the L-70s and other systems taking them down, we felt pretty safe at all points. And, on a lighter note, there was this joke going around that so many Pakistani drones have fallen in the farmlands around Amritsar that the kabadiwalas are going around saying, drone hai aapke paas. That was the extent of effectiveness of our campaign. But coming on the specific issue of President Trump, I think, look, he has a very tenuous relationship with facts and with truth, and we are seeing that time and again. Most analysts will perhaps, most psychologists will diagnose him as a narcissist who really has his own worldview of things. It's a dilemma for us dealing with President Trump, and we are not the only ones. The Canadians have the dilemma, the Europeans have the dilemma, and I think until 10 days back, we were perhaps a little bit smug that we had figured out how to deal with President Trump, until we got trumped by his methods. I don't know if you saw what happened with the South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa, yesterday at the Oval Office, where he got what is now being a new verb, he got Zelensky'd by Trump. And it's a new reality that the world is dealing with about how do you deal with a president who's so mercurial, who's so given to making up his own version of the reality. And the stakes are high. You were earlier in your program talking about the big trade deal coming up. Now, that trade deal is important for us. So in terms of our negotiating on this, do we try to get Trump on the mat saying, look, you were not right, you were economical with the truth, we do not believe in the hyphenation of India-Pakistan that you're trying to restore. This goes against all of the strategic gains that we have made in the last 20 years, right, administration after administration in our relations with America. Or do we really play a cool and calm diplomatic hand and say, we know what we are dealing with, we have to manage with him. Let's work with the senior officials. Let's work with those who understand that this is a critical relationship, not just for India, but also for the United States. How do you Trump-proof it, I guess, is the question that many of us are challenged with today.
General Narasimhan, Field Marshal Asim Munir, we have to call him a Field Marshal now because he has decided to make himself one. Do you see his self-appointment as Field Marshal, something that subverts whatever existed of a democratic, of a political structure in Pakistan? Do you see him as a wild card going forward?
2-3 things on this particular issue. I think he is the first person who probably got himself promoted for a failure.
Right.
I don't think any field marshal got himself promoted for failure before this. This is the first point. The second point is, since he has been made a field marshal, there are 2-3 issues that come up. One, field marshals are actually meant for life. So is he going to extend his tenure beyond what has been approved so far? That is one issue that you need to look at. Second issue is, having firmed his position as field marshal, what will be his reaction to what kind of things that have happened in Pahalgam and after that, of Sindoor and after that? So these are the 2-3 issues I think that we need to be looking at. My own understanding is that he is here to stay for some more time, maybe beyond the tenure that has been approved for him. Maybe we need to be prepared for certain other misadventures by Pakistan. And 3, the point which came first, that is the narrative building. I think we need to be strong on our narrative building to ensure that the success story which they are trying to propagate is properly negated, so that he is put under pressure at some point in time in future. I think these are the issues that we need to look at, Field Marshal Asim Munir, as you call it.
General Dua, despite our strikes, which obviously sent a very hard message to them, terrorism isn't necessarily going to evaporate out of Pakistan. Terrorists move away. They aren't sort of fixed to one particular camp or training center. Isn't that the larger reality that India needs to face? That, in the subcontinent, there is a nuclear sort of umbrella which resides. It resides in Pakistan, it resides in India. No one is going to push a conflict beyond a certain point, and therefore terrorists can return at any stage. And there's only so much that India can realistically do. I mean, we've got all sorts of people saying, let's just go after Pakistan, finish them off once and for all. But, a full war would devastate their economy, forget them, our economy. It would result in tens of thousands of people losing their lives. And under that nuclear threat, anything can happen, particularly with a strange leader over there, a wild card. Therefore, where does that leave us? And I ask this question 1 month after Pahalgam.
So, Vishnu, you're right. We live in a nuclear overhang as far as India and Pakistan are concerned. And terrorism, I don't think it is just going to wither and wane tomorrow. I don't think that Pakistan is going to stop supporting terrorism. I'm not sure. I'm sure they'll rebuild their camps, their structures. But the point that has been made by India over the last 1 month, especially after the first fortnight, is that we have now raised the ante. In 2016, we made shallow surgical strikes across land, 2, 3, 4, 5 kilometers. Thereafter, after Pulwama, Balakot was deep inside the Pakistan territory, a single strike, but on terrorist camps. Now, this time round, we have upped the ante by using all available platforms and means, and we have struck at the terror infrastructure hubs and headquarters across the country, including Punjab, including some installations very close to military installations.
Yeah.
Thereafter, we've struck all these places, the military establishments, in response to Pakistani strikes. So, to your question as to where does it leave us, I think we are just discussing the military part. As we go further, the Indus Water Treaty is going to hurt them most. We really don't realize the importance of it as of now. I'm sure it is sending shivers in Pakistan, because 80% of Punjab in Pakistan is all dependent on these waters. I know we don't have capacities right now to turn the tap off, but the kind of unpredictability that we've started to generate over the few days, I mean, there are so many things that can be done and are being done. Also, economic costs, diplomatic costs, the teams that we've sent across, we have to do narrative building better, as has come out loud and clear. But last sentence I would like to say, we have also found a space below the nuclear threshold where we can hit them very hard. We can hit them where it hurts them. You see, it is going to hurt Pakistan more than Pakistan is going to be able to hurt us. Yes, terrorism is something which will remain a wild card, but we have to manage to keep it under a certain threshold.
Sure. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. Lots to ponder on 1 month after that horrific terror attack. Thank you very much indeed.